Welcome back to Balanced Health. Joining us now is Amy Andrews, a holistic life coach, to talk about metabolic typing. Welcome, Amy.
Welcome to the show,
This
Amy.
is a fascinating topic and one Joe and I wanted to talk about. So let's get started by saying what exactly is metabolic typing?
Well, metabolic typing was developed by Bill Walcott. His book is called The Metabolic Typing Diet. And metabolic typing is a system for determining which diet is right for you. So there are all those diets out there. Some people do well on one, some do well on another. They all are included in the vast range of how do you proportion your plate in your metabolic type. So on this end of our spectrum, we have a carbohydrate type. A carbohydrate type does have protein on their plate, but it's about 25% of the plate, about a quarter.
When you say 25%, you're talking about 25% of the total calories on that plate are protein, okay?
And this plate looks very full, and it's more than most people would eat, but I wanted to show the
Great
variety.
to me. I like that amount.
So a carbohydrate type does well with every carbohydrate and a little bit of protein and a little bit of high quality fat.
Okay.
A mixed type wants their plate to be about half protein and fat and about half carbohydrate from vegetables. And of course, we're trying to avoid processed foods, and we're trying to watch the quality of our foods.
Sure.
So organically grown foods are the critical piece to metabolic typing. And then, of course, there's the protein type, and the plate near Joe represents his metabolic type. A protein type might have 65 to 70% of their plate covered in protein and good quality fat.
Wow. And might I just qualify here, because I've got chicken, I've got eggs, which is still protein, and avocados. I don't know what other of these carbs that look like carbs to me would be protein.
Well, you've got protein with skin on, so there's some fat on this chicken breast.
Oh, okay.
And the egg has some fat in it, and the avocado is a high quality fat, and the rest of it is all carbohydrates. So you've got you get to eat everything. You get to eat from the protein diets list, and you get to eat from the carb diets list, because you get to switch back and forth. If in the morning you do better with a little bit more protein and fat, then do that. And then at lunch, if you do better without so much carbohydrate, do that. And what we're trying to do is create a relationship between what am I doing and how do I feel.
Okay. And can I just say also, this is not just about a diet, like a weight loss diet, but this is an eating plan for life, right?
Right. This is a roadmap for where do I feel my best. I start most clients here with a mixed or balanced type diet. So I ask them to look at their plate and divide it in half, and have half the plate be protein and high quality fat, the other half of the plate be vegetables and fruits, and then see how they feel. If they start to fall apart in 2 hours and they have a headache and they're jittery and they're hungry and they're craving, add a little bit of protein and fat. If they're feeling sluggish and tired and grouchy, maybe they had too much protein and fat, so they could add a little bit of carbohydrate.
So is this a trial and error thing, or are there other ways that you can find out, like if I walk in, can you give me a test and find out what I am?
I can test you, and I can test you in a very detailed way. But I've found that many people don't agree with a big, complicated plan.
Okay.
What they want is some ideas. They want to know, how can I be aware of what am I buying? Where do I get organic chicken? Why do I have skin on my chicken, and my husband, who's a carbohydrate type, why does he not want that much fat? Or how do I portion things up when I'm making breakfast, lunch, and dinner? So I start with people's plate, and I say, if you had half of your plate protein and high quality fat, half your plate vegetables and fruit, and try to avoid processed foods. Start there and see how you feel.
Well, I actually have been tested, as you have, and I'm a mixed type, which is wonderful because I get to eat a little bit of everything.
Exactly. You're the lucky one.
Type. Stepping back from it, I like how you're referring to talking about how people feel after a food, because that's listening to your body. If a food doesn't agree with you, like you said, you talked about being grouchy, then you would step up the protein, which reminds me, the next time my wife's grouchy, I'm going to give her a steak. That should pretty much cure that whole argument.
A very
right?
loving way to give feedback to your spouse.
Let's step back for just a moment, because we've talked about these different types, okay? Now, when we're talking about a carbohydrate type, we're saying that person tolerates carbohydrates better than a protein type.
Right.
Can you talk about the oxidation of a calorie and why that is? What's going on in a carb type's body that they tolerate a carbohydrate better than? Because everybody likes rice and potatoes, and
Yes.
but some people shouldn't have them. So we can't confuse craving for something, meaning that that's your type, right?
Right. So let's take the should word out, and let's just say that most carbohydrate types know they are, because that's what they like. And many vegetarians are actually carbohydrate types. Their challenge is to find a way to get some protein and a little bit of fat on their plate. Slow oxidizers are carbohydrate types. That means that they burn through or they use slowly the fuel that they take in from carbs. A protein type will be a fast oxidizer, so you'll burn through it faster, and we use protein and fat to slow down the rate at which you use your fuel. So
Let me interrupt you there only because I don't want our viewers to be confused, because you said it very well. But when you're a slow oxidizer, that's not to be confused with having a slow metabolism. Because people refer to, I have a slow metabolism, my uncle has a fast metabolism. Slow oxidizer does not mean that you have a slow metabolism, correct?
slow oxidizer means you can use your carbs and make them last till your next meal, which might be 4 hours.
Whereas for me, like a protein type, I'll eat that same carb and that stuff will burn through me like sugar water, right?
Right, and you'll have a
then
blood sugar up and a blood sugar
Right.
down, and then all of a sudden you're crashing and you're looking for a donut, you know, because you
Right,
need another
right.
blood sugar up. So a good strategy for you already know, is to have some protein and fat at breakfast, and if it lasts you 4 hours, if you feel great at 2 hours out, you feel happy, you feel normal, you are mentally clear, you're physically well, your workout is great, you feel like doing things, that means you ate well for your type. If you don't feel like that, then there are ways to tweak it to either add more carbs or add more protein and fat, and pay attention to how you feel.
Makes all the sense in the world to me, ladies.
Sure.
Yeah, it does. And if you start eating right for your type, you will immediately feel results. Is that correct?
People feel better right away. Now, one of the reasons is if you're paying attention to avoiding processed foods, you're going to feel better. Most people do. And we're trying to limit our toxic load in our diet. So if we're choosing organically grown foods, we're trying to limit how much chemical and stuff that is an additive is in our diet. And when you do, your cells know. And so your cells start to clean themselves out.
Well, we're gonna have more on this later, but for more information, check out tln.com and click on shows and then on Balanced Health. Or you can call 888-242-9393 for a copy of today's show. And you might want to get this one. Coming up in our healthy cooking segment is a healthy Caesar salad that's fit for a king, but easy to make. So stay with us.